Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
Sam Pruitt here. What's up, beautiful humans?
Hey, you guys. This is a topic we don't cover very often, but man, it was a
No.
burning one for me. We're calling it Know Your Numbers
Mm-hmm.
and making simple and stress-free money habits, right? So
Yes.
I think there's a lot. So I think you and I, as habit queens, we have good disciplines and stuff. That's really the bones of what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, and
Right?
you're next level on the habit queen. To be clear, I'm pretty decent at it. And not necessarily is finance my strongest, but it like in life, I believe in habits and disciplines. And finances, I'm
Mhm.
pretty good. I'm pretty good. I've done a few things. But we definitely work with humans on a regular basis around their business finances and even their
Mhm.
personal finances, which of course these are also interlinked. So
Yeah.
this information will be relevant to people who have personal finances, which is all of you, by the way, whether you have
Hmm.
a business or not.
Everything that we're saying, just
Don't turn this off right now because you're
yeah.
like, money, I gotta go. Okay,
No.
you're the one that needs to really listen. If that
Really,
was your gut
we're talking to
instinct,
you. We're talking to you right now, calling you out.
100%,
Right?
100%.
And I have to raise my hand and say, like, okay, I've been in the place where
Same.
oh, like
Yeah, of
I'll
course we
do.
have.
And it was chaotic and messy and embarrassing, all this stuff. And it's like, you know what? That's just no way to live, right? And really, what we
No,
want. So we're
no.
gonna rub on the wound a little bit. We're gonna start this call off with, or this conversation off with a little bit of rubbing in the wound, right? Because what
Yeah.
I
We
see,
call it tough love.
awful lot, like people, it's like, why don't people do a better job of knowing their numbers, looking at their numbers, keeping track of their numbers, running reports in their business or reconciling their bank account or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, things that we hear is like, I don't have time, right? Or I might not like what I see, right?
Hmm.
I think that's the big one. That leads to the avoiding, like, I'll deal with it later. Like, oh, year end is the only time I really need to figure that stuff out, right? Because, just do it once a year for good old Sam. It's like, come on, man.
Exactly.
Well, what you and I
Exactly.
were talking about before this was like the energy drain that is.
Oh, it's a freaking chasm. It's like the Grand Canyon. Literally, it will suck the life out of you if you are in denial in this area of your life because it's a critical piece to your physical, like actual activity, physical daily environment, and emotional
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a straitjacket.
So disempowered. Like I think, when I think about you know, people think that, oh, like having the habits of discipline around money, like putting your receipts in a folder or looking at your QuickBooks or setting it up, right? Or, setting up recurring payment, whatever. It's like, oh, just we just have so much BS baggage around it and stuff. And
Hmm.
it weighs us down. It's like it's such a weight. I don't think people are present to it and what it causes. Just like when you bring it up, it's like, like it's just in the background. It's like a leak in the back of the business or in the back of the boat. It's like it's sinking you somehow. You just made it fast or slow, and you just don't know. And we could get so much more free and powerful and make better decisions, grow the business faster. What can you do this? I don't know if I have any money for it. Let me check the bank
Hmm.
account. Do I have money for it right now? Oh
You know what? I
no.
had this idea when you were just talking through that a lot of what we see people have inherited in this really dysfunctional
Mhm.
category of life called finances comes from their family and their
Oh.
upbringing. If you were brought up, so my parents immigrated here to America with my brother and sister with nothing, okay, with whatever was in the suitcase, literally got off the plane
Wow.
and we're like, okay, let's figure out how to make a living, feed these kids, and build a life
Wow.
here. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of people's stories. And even if it wasn't something like that, I guarantee over the course of a lifetime, the upbringing of the human listening, they saw their family, their parents, their relatives, or whatever, go through financial challenges and struggles. And
Hmm.
maybe some of them were extreme, maybe some of them weren't. Maybe there was a lack of resources, and
Mm,
a lot of pain and suffering around that. Maybe there was too much resource and some
mm,
dysfunction happened out of that as well. I mean, both of these things are possible, and then everything
mm-hmm,
in between. And
mm-hmm.
so then the young person growing up in that experienced that emotionally, that hardship or that whatever discomfort, dysfunction, and they've
Yeah,
just carried it forward with
yeah,
them.
yeah,
So let's
yeah.
start first by saying, put that shit down. That don't belong to you. That is, stop.
Just because we were raised with chaos and dysfunction and avoidance and stuff doesn't mean we have to carry that out. We don't have to recreate that ever for the rest of our life. It ends here. Like,
It
no,
ends here.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's so much to be said about what you just said. I was like represencing myself too, just the scarcity or the
Mhm.
chaos or the lack or the what if or what's going to happen, right? And
Mhm.
whether you're on a roller coaster with your family or they were doing well all the time, whatever. But like people don't talk about it. We talk about like
Mhm.
whether love is expressed in a family or whatever. Like finances are hardly ever.
No,
No,
no.
they're like you feel it, like like you see the fight. My parent, what is it? All the marriages, how many of them break up because of fighting and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
obviously the tension it creates, but it can also like if you get real with it, you get present to it, like it can be a power. Like I
Mhm.
remember one time, I mean this was when I was like keenly tracking and knowing that like I took a lot of integrity around my finances. I remember teaching a class and it was I was teaching us starting a business class and stuff and it's funny that we're talking about this. I was sharing with my students about the importance of setting up good business financials because they were not in business yet and they were wanting a business. I said, it's really good. And I said, do you know that I can tell you how much money is in my wallet right now by looking on my phone? Like I know, not just like in my wallet, not in my bank account, but like because I tracked where all the money was going. Like I could tell you how many dollars and cents I had in my wallet. And it didn't have to be down dollars and cents, whatever, but like I knew it. Like I
Mm.
took it, I got integrity with my money instead of, and what I saw with my parents was not integrity with their money. It was kind of like my mom's purse was always like money's kind of all out here, there, not in some of it's in the wallet, some of it's not, and
Mhm. Mhm.
it's like that just was her, and that's still her reality. If I go into my mom's purse today, it's just
Well, so a
like,
little bit of this is generational. I
yeah,
have older friends and people that I have known that would walk around with a lot of their cash in their wallet or hidden in their house
house. Yes.
in strange places. I had one friend that put it in a sock drawer. I mean, these are real stories. I'm talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? A
Yes.
lot of control issues and
Yeah.
concerns around the safety of their
Yes.
money and whatever.
Yeah.
And then now I've seen the polar opposite with this next generation and everything going digital. I'm an old schooler. I know you're a
Yeah.
digital queen,
Hmm.
around people having zero clue because it's in the digital space.
Yeah.
So it's like they've given it up to someone else
Mm,
as if
mm,
it's someone else's money and not theirs.
mm.
And, just trusting in the digital
Yeah.
that somehow
Yeah.
it's working itself out. What a bizarre pendulum to think about in the course of our
Yeah.
lifetime, how this has swung.
Yeah.
We're asking people not to become neurotic around their
Hmm.
money, but
Hmm.
like to take ownership and control and ultimately gain freedom through this
Hmm.
process, through this knowledge, through
Hmm.
habits.
It's a lot like we liken a lot of things too because we've done so much with training and nutrition and stuff like that. It's like difference
Discipline.
between, yeah, it's the difference between kind of having blood tests that tell you what's going on inside of the physiology of your body. Like, what's your biology inside it? Are your numbers high or low? Like you're having symptoms or not having symptoms. Like, how are you doing? Right? Like, we've seen fit people pass away, fit people just be gone the next day or seemingly fit, right?
Yeah,
But numbers
externally
don't
fit.
lie. Your blood
Hmm.
number, whether it's your blood pressure measurement, whatever. So this is along those lines. It's like, let's get real with the numbers so we know we can track it, we can measure it, we can be empowered. So the uncertainty is draining your energy. So let's get certain. That's what we're really wanting to hit home. So I think we
Yes.
covered it. Okay.
Okay.
So why does knowing your numbers matter? Why is that important? Right? What are some of the ways that we see it helping and helping business owners or individuals?
I don't see how you can make one decision.
Yeah.
As simple as like what to have for dinner,
Yeah.
or in the workspace, who to hire, how much money to spend on marketing, whatever, business decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, decisions that you make on the daily. And by the way, we make hundreds, if not thousands of them each and every day,
Hmm.
consciously or unconsciously.
Hmm.
How could we possibly make these decisions with any sort of wisdom, intellect, without having information,
Yeah.
knowledge?
Yeah.
I'm just confused about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting real. I think about one of your clients is a hotelier, and so it's like, are they doing well or not doing well? Like, you could kind of like take a temperature from the front desk person. Sorry, have you seen a lot of people come in the front door? Like, that's one way. Or you could like print a report, or you could, ask your team to, tabulate and really give you actual numbers, right? It's like, how
Mhm.
did we do? What I know in hotels, it's about occupancy rate, right? It's like you want to maximize the occupancy for the price. Like, you don't want too much occupancy and you're giving the rooms away, but it's back and forth, right? But you
Mhm.
make those choice decisions with good data, with the numbers, how the business is doing, right?
I mean, just setting daily pricing in any business,
Hmm.
setting your prices,
Hmm.
right? Or understanding, do we need to have a sale or we don't need to have a sale? Do we need to hire new staff, or we can't afford to hire new staff, or
Hmm.
whatever? And same for the human at home who doesn't have the business. Should
Hmm.
you go out and have steak and lobster for dinner tonight
Yeah.
because that's just what you feel like eating? Or should
Mhm.
you stay home and make a bean and cheese burrito? Okay, these are really different decisions.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I think in the thing that I've seen recently, in that maybe this can hit home for business owners as well, and I'm sure people are feeling it, if not seeing it, is costs have kind of gone up a little bit.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. I mean, for all of us,
Yeah,
it's mind boggling.
yeah.
I was traveling recently and I went into a store in a different town than I normally shop in. And I've watched in my own local stores, of course, as it's crept up. But I really was sort of blown away at how much higher the prices were in this other town. And this wasn't in a community of wealthy individuals. And it
Mm,
really was quite disturbing for me because I felt like I live in a pretty nice area, with moderate working class or upper class
mm.
humans, and I know what they're paying for milk and eggs and bread or whatever. And then I go to this community that is not of the same economic level, and they were actually paying higher prices. And I was freaking shocked and also furious. So
Wow.
everywhere we go, for whatever all reasons the businesses are setting their prices,
Hmm.
we're all feeling it, and some of us are feeling it at a higher level than others. And it's really kind of a scary time. So even more critical than ever for people to be
Hmm.
paying attention that pennies add up, dimes add up, quarters add up, and dollars add up.
Hmm. Hmm. So really, if you haven't taken a look at what your cost of goods are, meaning the cost of doing your business, whether it's the product that you're selling, the service that you're delivering, the people that are cleaning your offices, the whatever marketing spend, all the things, like if it's all sort of creeping up and your numbers aren't creeping up in terms of what you can sell for, what you're selling for, or who you're selling to, whatever, like you've got to be evaluating all of this, and only by knowing your numbers, and so, one of the other things too is like seasonality, right? Some
Mhm.
businesses have high seasonality, like what can you do, there's, if you have a retail business, it's very clear. And even in your personal life, you spend more money at a certain time of year, or you bring in more money in
Yeah,
the fourth quarter, right? Like budgeting for that
cash
and
flow.
managing
Mhm.
that cash flow. So, and so, when you know your numbers, there's just fewer surprises. It's
Mhm.
like I know what it takes to run this business. It's not like a shock kind of thing. Or you can see when some bills haven't, like a bill hasn't been paid, or see, like I just got a bill that I thought, well, I told the person, take it on my credit card or whatever, and they sent me a thing and said, "Oh, it didn't run. Like, I guess I wrote the number down or whatever." And it's like, yeah, that person's not getting the money if they weren't keeping track of that. It's like, so, I get a reminder about it two months later. It's like, oh, right, just like knowing these things, and I've budgeted for it, I build for it and whatnot, but and then missed opportunities, right?
Well, ultimately, that's the biggest cost is the freedom slash opportunity side of the equation
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people are literally robbing themselves of. Business owners are robbing themselves every day of being nimble enough
yeah,
to on the fly make decisions and pursue new opportunities and shed ones that are not serving their business model or their business strategy, their outcome goals, right?
yeah, yeah,
So we wasted 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. Opportunities pass. These are
yeah.
fish in the pond. They will swim by. They're not going to sit there and stare at you with their mouth open. Put the hook in me, put the hook in me every day, right? Like that's gone now. We
Can't
lost
wait.
that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, and different opportunities have different value and cost and whatnot. And it's like if you're not knowing, so for example, I was going to tell a story about knowing your numbers from, let's say, a marketing spend, right? So in technical language of marketing, if you do online advertising like a pay per click or you pay for a lead or something like that, we call it a cost per click or a cost per lead or cost per acquisition, those different costs. So it might cost you, in the days of Google AdSense, you'd spend, it used to be a lot less, but let's just say $50 for somebody to click or $5 for them to click over, right?
Mhm.
And how many of those clicks they come over to our website does it take for us to convert one actually into a sale? So in our former business, we knew the cost per click for Google was it was like $2,500 for that person to turn into a sale. So if on the back end we're not making, we have to deduct that from every sale. It's like, guess what? That's a sunk cost to get that sale, to get that opportunity, if you will. $2,500 in lead transaction, and not to mention all the phone calls and all the other work went into like nurturing that lead and all that stuff, but 2,500 hard cost if we didn't keep track of that and know. And then also there would be new lead channels coming out. There's little directories that focus in on, like marketing is, oh, should you advertise? Like I was working with this one client. I was like, what's your marketing budget? Didn't know. I'm like, oh, for gosh sake, are you doing social media? Yeah. Where you spend your money? Well, sometimes I boost my Instagram posts. It's only $50 to just sort of like
Throw
throw
it at the
50,
wind.
throw it at the wind. I'm like, and like, does that get you anything? Like, to get a couple of like visitors, like if you took some of the, if you did that a couple times a week, like $50, like, and they weren't spending any money on professional photography. And this particular business was very visual, no money on
Mhm.
professional photography, but throwing $50 into the wind every so often to boost a post. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah, yeah,
what are we trying to do here? So being real
exactly.
being real specific. So, all right. And then let's talk about the fun stuff of getting people in action, right? Like, okay, I think we got them a little pissed off at the way they've been behaving and like avoiding, I mean, slapping around a little bit. Like, all right, well, what can we do? What can we do?
Solutions. Let's talk about some solutions, shall we?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a whole list of habits there. Maybe we should kind of go one by one and we can talk through them a little
Yeah, I think, I would bucket this into one-time things
bit.
and then
Okay.
recurring things, right? So you're great at the discipline, of like, the daily taking your supplements or, getting to your gym, whatever. These are very similar. So look at your life and
Mm-hmm.
your money. You have disciplines. Sometimes there's a one-time setup, like, oh, you got to get a gym membership, right? Or you got to, sign up for that yoga studio or whatever it is, right? Like, okay, I got to do that one-time setup. Great, I got a relationship, got this thing. In money, it's like, oh, get a software, get an app, get a routine, get a place for you to keep track of things, right? So you're great, like you said, like old school, so we still live in a world where we're going to get a receipt, whether you keep that receipt. So
Yes.
technically, for tax purposes, every receipt needs to be saved for a minimum of 7 years. So you got to hold on to it, or you got to take a picture of it. You got to somehow store it. You don't actually have the paper one, but you have to have a visual that that thing happened. It can't just be a transaction in your bank account or your credit card. If you've ever been through an audit, they're like, show me all the receipt, like show me proof
Mm-hmm.
that these transactions, like what is that $100 you spent at Home Depot or whatever, this type of thing. So, QuickBooks is the go-to. I think it's just one of the best ones. There are specialty ones. Some people might listen to this, might have a specialty operation or a CRM or an operating system that they run their business on. Great. It can be whatever it is, but have it and use it. And if you have a bookkeeper or someone that helps you with your business, fantastic. You've invested in your business and the livelihood of that. Keep an eye on that bookkeeper, make
Mhm.
sure they know what they're doing. But it's the one-time setup for yourself. Like I have a program that I found. I used to do Mint. Did you ever hear about Mint, or like Intuit has Credit Karma, things like that? So when Mint went away, I went to a program called Empower, right? And so it's a free software that takes all my transactions, put it in a little display, and I can go in and categorize them. So as often as I wanted to, I can go to my bank statement, but it's not all categorized, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
know,
Exactly.
what was this for, and come the end of the year when I want to do my taxes, I need to know the category. Like, did I spend it on health things or the cats or right?
So you do that weekly, monthly, quarterly?
Yeah, so weekly, weekly. And everybody can have your own whatever. I think if you're running a business, especially a high transaction or high, so like when we were in construction, there's receipts flying around every day, right? You
Oh,
can't
definitely.
can't do that on a weekly basis. Like you'll just have this pile of it. And I mean, maybe you can put it into a folder and somebody scans them all. But I mean, the best thing
Mm.
is like in that moment, just snap. QuickBooks has an app on the phone these days. A lot of these apps are mobile. You can just take a quick picture of it, throw it away. Like save
Mhm.
that picture and it'll go right up in QuickBooks, or you can store it in your Google Drive, whatever. But do that one-time setup. Come up with whatever the tool is that you want to use, get that relationship with something. And then it's the discipline, it's the habit, right?
So QuickBooks for business or small business,
Mhm.
or what are the personal ones that you feel strongly about?
Well, I use Empower. That's just a free one, but QuickBooks also has Quicken. I believe Quicken still exists for private. And there's so many these days. I don't want to speak because it really depends on what people want to do. Find something. Just if you, like I love YouTube. That's how I found Empower. I was like, oh, when I was leaving Mint, it was like best alternatives to Mint, right? As a program, right? Just go Yelp that. The guy came up with five, or you could chat GBT this stuff, go into chat
Mhm.
GBT and say, what are the top five most common or best uses for small business owners, which is QuickBooks, or in your industry specific or personal. So yeah,
Okay.
and then set it up. And then I'm a big
And
fan
it
of, yeah,
and if you can't set it up,
get
you
someone to
get
do it.
somebody to do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. I'm too busy, Mrs. I don't have
Mhm.
time, whatever all the stories are.
Mhm.
Fine. We'll give you some grace. Find somebody. There are people who live for this, by the way.
Oh
I've
yeah.
worked with accountants, bookkeepers, CPAs, all
Yeah.
the people who love this, live and breathe for this kind of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, do it. Yes.
Totally, they do.
And then those people who we love and adore, and they're worth every friggin' penny that you'll invest in them, the good ones, have them report to you weekly or quarterly. Give me some
Exactly.
reports. Show me what's going on. Let's talk about it. Don't just be like,
Exactly.
okay, so I've passed it off to Sally, Fred, Charlie, whatever's, and then I'm going to walk away now. Oh,
No,
no, no, no, no. But they're there to
no.
facilitate the tool of reporting and communication.
Yes. And this is just one dimension if we're talking about reporting of your business. I'm hopeful that depending on the level you're operating your business at or your life at, you have check-ins with yourself. If it's a sales team, you're checking in with the sales team every week. Like, what'd y'all do?
Yeah.
Like, I need to see it. Like, we need to
Yeah.
know, right? Or how are the sales? Like, whatever, whether it's an executive team or it's a specific sales team or people you're managing, like, how is the performance? If we're not monitoring and managing it every week, who
Hmm.
knows? It's too far to go off the rails if we don't take a look at it, right? So yeah, I agree. What we used to do um, from an accounting standpoint, from a bookkeeping standpoint for business owners is, you go out and do all these transactions in a week, right? However high a volume you have. Maybe it's not every week you need to do this, but like in construction when we were flipping houses. So you get all these transactions, bookkeeper puts them all together, and at the end of the week, they're like, hey, there's a couple I don't recognize. There's these few people that you paid some things to or
Hmm.
whatever. What the heck is this? If we waited until December and then
We would have no idea.
I'd be like, make
No
it up.
idea.
I don't
Even if
know.
it says Charlie's Plumbing. What did Charlie the plumber do? I
Right. Who
don't
knows?
know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Exactly.
And which house did you do it on? Because we bought, we were doing it multiple houses. It's like,
Exactly.
Charlie, who was that? Oh, wait, same goes down for us. Like every house had a profit. Like we were running mini profit and losses on every house, right? When we were flipping
Hmm.
houses. Like
Hmm.
if I just said, oh, Charlie's plumbing, and we had four houses and I didn't keep track of it was house A, did I
Hmm.
make money on house A or did I lose money on house B? I had no idea, but I needed to know. Charlie worked on house A. Oh, and that needs to
Hmm.
come off of the profitability of house A. So yeah, you can micro do it if you have that. But the important thing here is the reporting, looking at your numbers. Like what you don't measure, you can't manage.
Yeah.
You
And
can't.
from an old school vantage point, or even a more like personal finance slash old school vantage point, is people a lot of times live within families. So whether they have a partner or whatever they all have going on, so there's shared resources.
Yeah.
Oh, talk about messy. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there, no two people think of money the same way
No.
and act and operate their finances the same way. So
Mhm.
if you can join money with somebody, I mean, if you have not, and it's uncomfortable, but too bad. So is the stinky
Uh-huh.
laundry and the dog poop in the front yard. Okay. You've got to communicate. So creating even a basic spreadsheet, which is like a budget and where is our money
Mhm.
being spent, whatever, and then having regular conversations around that. So
Yeah.
you can quickly see that one of you maybe is out of alignment before it
Mhm.
becomes a huge issue.
For
And
sure.
next thing you know, you have a lot of conflict and strife around the fact that the bank account is dwindling
Mhm.
because somebody thought it was a really good idea to go buy a new boat when the
Mm.
other person's over here squirreling away and saving pennies for the summer vacation. I mean,
Mm.
these things happen on the regular because,
Mm.
again, we coach small business owners and also human beings who belong to families. And we do hear these are real stories. These
Yeah.
things
Oh,
really happen.
for sure, for sure. And
Yeah.
my favorite one in this digital age, I'll tell a story about is those I want to call them like the hidden recurring costs,
Oh,
right?
you
So
have a great experience with that.
yeah, so we had a new bookkeeper in our flipping company, and I was like, okay, this is a good time. Let's take a real good look at. I want to say, like run me a report of the last, I think it was 90 days or 4 months of any expense that has recurred every month in those months. Like it's not just a one-time thing, right? Not that we couldn't look at those too, but I was like, what
Mm.
is recurring? Like what are our like what's the cost that's going out of the business every month, whether we do 10 sales or two sales, right? And I was kind of shocked. I was like, holy, I found close to $2,000 a month of things that we had discontinued doing and we hadn't turned it off. Like we were
Mhm.
like let's say it was a software and we're like, oh, we're not using that software anymore. In our mind, like, oh, we
Mhm.
don't go into that program and use it. Guess what? We were paying for it. Like even though we were over
Mhm.
here in this new one, we're paying it for it too. I had
Mhm.
forgotten to turn off the other one, right? And there was multiples of those. And when you have like a couple $100 in software, or like people have little apps that they sign up for,
Oh
like,
my gosh. Streaming
yeah,
subscriptions, apps,
yeah.
subscriptions. So anything that's subscription based is you're
Hmm.
like number one red flag. All things are flashing right
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
because you wanted to stream the football game one time for some friends coming over. You had a party, but it doesn't mean for the rest of your life you need to have this streaming or the app or the whatever the thing is, or gyms. People join gyms
Hmm.
and they're like all hot and bothered. Well, guess what? It's now spring.
Hmm.
Have you walked in the door of that gym for the last 60 days? You know you're
Get
still paying for it.
get in there. Yeah. Well, this is one for me. I had this little wake up call to myself, my internet bill,
Mm,
right? Like my internet bill, I kind of knew, I was like, oh, it's this much. And they were sneaky. Like $5 would increase over here and then
mm,
another five. And like, not like as soon as the number like went into like, I was like, wait a minute, that bill used to be, I don't know, what, like 120. All right. And all of a sudden it's like 145. And I was going, wait a minute. When did what did I add? What's going on? Those little kind of
mhm,
sneaky things. So,
mhm,
you got it, especially the internets, the phones, whatever. So run a
mhm,
recurring, like take a look at your bank statements over the last few months. And this might be just, I could run a report because we had QuickBooks, but just print it out and manually look at it, and take a look. Is there anything in there that you no longer want to be paying for, but you forgot that you are paying for, right? Things like that.
And then quarterly, looking at the bigger things from a
Mhm.
business vantage point or from a personal vantage point, also, this is all relevant. Insurances, other things that are a big cost of business or cost of living
Yeah.
in your expense mode, your overhead, so to
Yeah.
speak. And you're like, well, all this stuff's been creeping up, hence the economy and our dysfunctional situation. So there are many, many instances you can go back, renegotiate with those fools.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be leaving because it is a competitive marketplace still in many of these arenas. So you can go around and get some
Mhm.
quotes and
Mhm.
just take a little time or put your bookkeeper or whomever on the task. Maybe your spouse loves these projects. I don't know. Find somebody if you don't want to do it
Mhm.
to be the one to like pick up the phone and start making some calls. Oh, next thing you find that there's an internet offer from another provider, you know, definitely cutting hundreds, if not $1,000 a year off of this expense. And you're like,
A couple phone calls.
why?
Hello.
Off of
Yeah.
a phone call.
A
Exactly.
couple like you're working way too hard to be letting this money just fly out. It's like the boat's leaking out the back and you're not paying attention. You're wondering why you're paddling so hard. It's like, well, good God, let's fill the leak, like, okay, so let's
Yeah.
stop the money leaking out the back, whatever that looks like, and knowing what your true expenses are. Maybe there are some, and are you getting real? Are you earning enough for all these expenses? Do you need to make some tough decisions? Are there things you can streamline? Can we cut some things? And then I always too, saving up for those things that expenses in the future. Like you talked about a vacation or a big purchase or a capital expenditure in your business. Is there something like, what, we need to like do an overhaul of the blah, 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 whatever. The website needs to get revamped. The building needs to get painted, the whatever, the kids need, new shoes or whatever it is.
I just want to point out that what I have also found, some of the guiltier players are the ones that have good cash flow and are making good money. So it's like, well, I'm fat and
Oh,
happy now, so I'm going to let it free flow as
yeah,
if this will forever be a thing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
also a mistake I've seen. It's like, well, yeah, we're good. I've literally had some people say it's only money because they're currently flowing in the money.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
might be
yeah,
happening for a couple of years and their business might be blowing up or their whatever is all going on there.
yeah.
That's not a forever thing. It takes one health crisis, one natural disaster, one big customer that you lose, one something called
Mm,
life
mm.
change. The game will change instantly. And then they'll
It's
be
just
doing
no,
the oh shit.
and there's just no way to take care of money, period. Like, just like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's only money. Like, money's not going to keep hanging around with you if that's how you treat it. It's like, oh, fine. If it's come and go for you, I'll see you later then. So,
To me, that's a form of denial from the experience of people I've worked with that have given me that kind of response. That was their form of being in denial.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm making plenty, right? Oh, well, you still even
Mm-hmm.
good drag of it. So, the other thing too is like lots of automations, like have autom checks go out on recurring things, set up recurring things with your banks. Just have those things that can be recurring or automated. I'm a big fan of, like I don't write a check to my landlord. It's like, nope, it's always automated, right? Or all my utilities. You're a little more old school.
Mm-hmm.
I save that time, anything that you can. I do get an email to see what, every utility bill that comes in. I see it. Okay, great. It's paid. I don't have to spend the time clicking and doing all that. So cool. And then one I'll drop here if anybody does mileage tracking, because for so many years in real estate and travel, all that, your travel, like if you're traveling to a conference or if you're traveling, a lot of times we're traveling to see clients or whatever, that time there's an expense. Either you can keep track of all the little expenses like your gas mileage or, how much you spent on gas, the trip or whatever. But Mile IQ, Mile, and then the IQ, like INQ is the app that I love. It's like $5 and it'll keep track of it's like GPS related. And I just go in and I tell it business, personal, and then you can add like real specific things like this was a trip for, going to see a client, da da da, whatever. And that's perfect for taxes. Like I'm not having to write it. The old school, like when I was first in real estate years ago, before all these apps, you had to write all your mileage down. Oh, for gosh sakes. It's like, just kill me now. But I look at it, I get thousands of dollars, especially when I was
Oh,
running
yeah.
thousands of dollars. So anyway, my IQ. All right, let's break some of the habits down, like daily habits too. Like if you have it's kind of a volume business that you get receipts or things on the daily, have a daily habit, have an app, have a way of putting it into a folder. Just don't, it's sort of like if you came home after your gym workout and you just threw things on the floor, like, and you didn't clean it up and put it into a hamper or something like that. Like eventually you just walk into your room, there's a big pile of smelly, stinky stuff.
On your bed where you're supposed to be sleeping. You had
Oh,
a story of
yes.
somebody you discovered in a situation where stuff was on their bed, literally, and they couldn't sleep properly. What
Well,
the hell? That's extreme behavior right there.
yeah, you guys, okay. In flipping houses, we didn't go into always the nicest houses, right? And so I liken the houses that had, the common, oh, there's clutter in the house, and then the garage is full of shit, and there's some sheds that have stuff, whatever. That's like 1 degree. And then next degree is like, oh man, they've been stockpiling stuff in the backyard and whatever. And then there's, yeah, a couple where it was like, um, the house had paths. I mean, like it's unfathomable to me how long it took to get like, and it must have started with like a couple things on the floor and then a couple more things. And then literally like her bed, half of it, it was like 8 feet off the ground, like the whole room was just, and there was a place where she slept on half the bed and then a trail, like a little tunnel to the bathroom and then to the kitchen. And it
Unbelievable.
was like,
Unbelievable.
so that's the extreme.
Suffocating.
Like that's when
Suffocating.
you never do anything about it, right?
Mhm.
So let's be the opposite of that. Like, yeah, take it, do something with it. Like put it in a place. Give it a home and have it go in there. And then weekly, like I talked about, maybe you need to review with your bookkeeper, like your categories, or, you need to just look at, oh, okay, did I have, maybe you put all of your paperwork, you get your bank statements, you get your credit card, whatever, you maybe just put it in a folder and then maybe you need to file it, but once a week. So just having little recurring things. And then monthly, like you said, have a money date, you know, how's
Mhm.
my money doing? Look at my finances, look at my investments, what are my things coming up? Where's, how's my cash flow in, out, all of that, right?
Mhm.
Know what's happening. So
Yeah. Even on the category front, I've frequently, and I'll look as an outsider, you do this too, into someone's business or finances and be like, this seems strange, right? Because we have a
yes.
different perspective than the insiders in the space.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
many, many times find that things have been miscategorized or
Mm,
things are extremely out of balance. If you're doing
mm.
comparisons on P&Ls and balance sheets and stuff like that, like, whoa, just I'm going to question everything. I love a good highlighter. Right?
That's
And
it.
I'm not, I mean, we could be wrong, but we're
Yeah.
seeing as an outside perspective of
Mhm.
like something here doesn't look right. Let's dig deeper.
You know what you're pointing out, and this is really key that I started learning this, and I love to share this with people. So I want to, if you guys can get a picture of this, and if you're not running a business, but I think you can still do this in your personal life, right? It's month over month reports, or so you can look at year over year. So instead of like, let's say a profit and loss, or like if you looked at this month's bank statement, or like the money that came in, what did I spend it on, and how much do I have left at the end of it? But in a business, we call it a profit and loss. The top is how much money you're bringing in, how much money went out, and then what are we left with, our net profit, right? Well, if you just look at 1 month, kind of like just looking a little bit narrow, like, okay, how do we do this month? It tells you one picture. But if I can look over the past 6 months, I have a much better chance of seeing anomalies, like you said, right? So if I look at 6 months and I see line items, like I see all the expenses, I see the mortgage, I see the utilities, I see the entertainment, I see the food budget, whatever it is, right? If something is a little bit higher or lower, you see the anomaly that way. So doing month over month, so each month we see it stacked up next to each other, your eyes can then kind of get a picture like, oh, that's the same amount every, like heating bills, like we had an Airbnb we were running, right?
Mm.
like the heating bills and the air conditioning bills, it was in a hot and cold climate. And it's like, we had budgeted a certain amount what we thought the utility was going to be. And it was like, holy smokes, it would just like shoot up $600. It was like, okay, what are we doing about that Airbnb to try and get that number? Like we could look at it and go, okay, we know now it's $600, we know the total, if you will, if we invested in, an air conditioning system or we did some sort of insulation or whatever, like, could we make an
Mhm.
investment in something that would bring that number down so we didn't have these spikes and whatnot? So, but
Even a
that's,
controlled thermostat.
yeah.
Because people are crazy. I'm hot, I'm cold. The windows are open. They're literally like have the
Signage.
okay.
Yeah. At one point we just said, yeah, can leave the windows closed. Like we got signage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. Turn the
exactly.
lights off. Turn the
That
lights
was
off when you
free,
leave.
putting a sign up.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah. And then setting it. And then when, they can do now in Airbnbs, I can change the temperature from my phone
Uh-huh.
of
Uh-huh.
their, it's like they turn it back. I'm like, nope, nope, nope.
You have a naughty guest, you're like freezing them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure we don't do those things, but it's kind of funny thinking
But
about it.
but noticing the waste, noticing like what,
Mhm,
the actual
mhm,
expenses like we talked about, and are there things maybe you need to go, the utility company, maybe like I did with mine, there's power companies will lower your baseline rate if you use like so like don't do your laundry when they need all the air conditioning running. I'm sure you get some of this, base rates and stuff like that, right?
mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah. Or
cool.
what makes me crazy is when they estimate and then they're radically off because they're estimating it based on like the area, for example. Well, I live in an area, okay, my husband and I live in a large house with 3 bedrooms. Okay, we have
Mhm.
the grace of that.
Yeah,
But there's people around me that maybe have 6 or 8 family members living in that same space, right? So the usage in that space is completely different than mine. We
right.
happen to be in the same zip code,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But they're like, well, you know, a lot of these companies estimate power usage or whatever. And I was like, don't be doing that to me
yeah,
because I
yeah,
don't want to get that giant bill that I didn't use that, and then I have a credit for the next
yeah,
3 months. So you're affecting my cash flow. That cash belongs to me. It doesn't
yeah.
belong to you,
Thank
Mister
you very much.
PG&E or whoever the hell you are.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good. All
Other
right. Well,
habits? Any other
uh,
habits?
so on a weekly basis, I would just say like, so monthly, have a money date, even just
Mhm.
30 minutes, like on the weekend,
Mhm.
look at your bank statements. If you have an app, look at it. If you're a business, oh, please get your
Mhm.
bookkeeper, please yourself on a monthly basis. So bookkeeping is usually like a trailing number, right? So usually bookkeeping by the 10th of the following month, they can give you a P&L, profit and loss. So like demand that. If they're not sending that to you, get that. If you're not doing it for yourself, start doing it. Like make a commitment. Okay, what do I need to do to start getting the numbers into my QuickBooks, categorizing them? What do I need to learn? Do I need to hire someone? Do I need to get trained? What do I need to do? Like what's going to happen here? It's just like learning to eat better, learn, healthier habits, right? Like you and I talked about, it's like, okay, if I want to be in shape and fit and have a life and thriving and energy, it's like you need some movement. You need to plan for that. You need to, shop smart. You probably didn't come out of the womb knowing exactly how to navigate that maze of a grocery store with all the junk food, right? Making
And
good.
at first, it could be uncomfortable. And
Mm.
it might even hurt a little bit. Like I told you, my abs are killing me right now because I realized I hadn't do core work the whole time I was training for Ironman. So apparently, I got a fluffy belly, and then I went back to do core work, and I was like, damn,
Oh.
are my abs in there anywhere? Wait. Okay, so again, if you haven't used these muscles
Yeah.
around finance habits,
Yep.
it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first. Don't worry about it. It's
Yep.
growing pains like everything else.
And
You
it's
will
worth it.
work through it. You're worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're worth it.
And it's the outcome is worth it. The little bits of time, the stress, the anxiety, like we talked about in the beginning of having these piles of backlogs of not paying attention to something, whatever, receipts, expenses, taxes, all that stuff, it's draining you. It's
Mhm,
absolutely draining you. So the investment of ticking away at it, creating little habits, and it's all it is for most people. It's just some little daily or weekly habit that if they just started small and started doing that. And again, I want to say like it's not about perfect. Like even if
mhm,
you did it 10% better right now. Like you just said, okay, I'm going to put my receipts in a folder every week so that I have them and I can file them. I'm
I
going
can find
to
them.
I can
I
find
know,
them. I
I
like
can
they're not
find
just all
them.
over the house. They're not in a drawer in the car, or whatever, my purse, whatever.
Yeah,
Right? Or like choose an app, like investigate, spend just a little time, YouTube, best apps, whatever for your thing, and
yeah,
choose something,
yeah.
right? If it's a business, 90% of you probably going to be a QuickBooks app. If it's something else, great. Pick one. Pick one, and in the next 30 days, learn how to use it or hire someone to help you use it or figure that shit out. Let's go. Let's go.
Mhm, mhm,
So so a couple key takeaways I just want to say is we said this a little earlier. It's like if you don't track it, you can't improve it either.
mhm,
Can't get better at that thing, right? Can't get better. Like if you're trying to lose weight or get in shape or whatever, like if you're trying to do speed on your bike or whatever, you got to know how fast you're going right now, right? So track it. Knowing your numbers is your business's superpower. Like you can supercharge your effectiveness in your business, make better decisions, take advantage of opportunities, stop losing money, get the holes filled in the boat, right? And I love this one. Be a money lady boss, right?
yeah.
Like be
Or
a
Mr.
boss,
Boss.
Mr.
Be a
Boss.
boss.
Be a boss about your money. Like don't just like leave it to it's like, oh, I don't know how to do it. No, be a boss with your money. Let's get
Mhm,
on it. Get some automation, get some reminders, have a monthly little CEO with yourself, like be your own CFO. And then, again, like a little consistency beats a perfectionist attitude. Like, oh, if I can't do it perfectly, then I'm not going to do anything. So these small habits, they will transform your business over time. They'll transform you over time. You will feel
mhm.
better about yourself and anxiety. So just aim for progress, not perfection, please. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
How'd we do? What do you have to say?
So good,
What's a
so
one
good.
thing? What do you want to leave them with?
Mine is not as pleasant as yours was.
Let's
Sometimes I'm gonna give them a good wallop.
rip the Band-Aid off. Yes.
Denial is a weakness. It is a weak
Um,
muscle. Living
yeah.
in denial is a weakness.
Mm, that's not who we are.
Knowledge, knowledge and information is a strong muscle. It's
Mm,
that simple.
mm,
Like
mm,
being and living in denial is operating from a weak place.
mhm.
It's not empowered.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tolerate it anymore.
And if you're listening to this, you are freaking empowered. You are taking this on.
Yeah, you're
Wherever
one of
you,
our people.
yes, do something. So the takeaway is what is the one thing if you started that would start to make a difference in this? Is it getting lazy about receipts, getting empowered about receipts? Is it not looking at your numbers, looking at your numbers? Is it starting some automations? Is it getting an app? What is it? Getting a little educate, whatever, like just being honest with yourself. Like what is it going to be? And promising it to yourself, like, okay, I'm going to take that on right now. It's time. It's time to grow up. Uh,
It's time.
it's
It's
time.
time.
Right on,
All
lady.
right.
I love it. I love it. All right. What can we share with our beautiful humans as we wrap up this day, this episode?
How
Hmm.
your life and finances feel
Yeah,
are more important than how they look.
yeah, yeah. And
How it
every day.
feels is truth.
Yeah. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.